This conference will now be recorded.
Hey, hi guys, let's get started. So, few of you might have joined late or in the middle. So, I'll take separate classes for you where I'll make you understand what all is happening. So, those who have joined in between, you'll find a little bit difficulty to understand, but just stay along. We will start everything. So, I'll bring my two servers, the two PHP apps which as top state, back online so that I can start working with them. Now, just to give a brief overview of what all we have covered. So we were in a process of developing a PHP app, and we started with a simple EC2 instance, and we installed all what we need on that particular PHP instance. All the software, all the data related, all the database things related to that. And when it comes to taking a backup, I installed or I brought another volume, the 8 GB what Amazon provides. On top of that, I installed 1 GB more, and I moved everything to that 1 GB, or all the database related things to that 1 GB. And then I took a EBS snapshot to back up my data and an AMI to back up my software related things. And I saw that in case there is a failure, I am able to recover the instance back or my entire application back, but I majorly face two problems. The first problem is that there is a downtime. The time I take to make my system again up and running is called as downtime. So at that time, the server is not available, and the customers who are coming to view the content are not able to view the content. So that is problem number one. And the problem number two is that there is a data loss. So let me say that I take a snapshot or I take a backup at 12 o'clock and the server crashes at 3. I have to use 3 hours of data. So to make this thing more effective and more working, I introduced something called multi-tier architecture. So I told you that in multi-tier architecture, rather than having one single instance or one single point of failure, I will have two instances, two EC2 instances, which will be connected to one database, because I cannot have two databases. If I have two databases, then there will be a lot of problem in syncing the data. So I will have one database, and that database comes with something called read replica and multi-AZ. So read replica will take care of my data. If multiple users are there and they want to extract the data, so it will take care of the reading part or browsing part of the data, and multi-AZ will take care of the disaster recovery. So this is an in-house tool from Amazon which take care of all those data related things. Then I told you that all the static content of my website, I'll go and put it there on the S3, something which I don't want that every time I should pull it from EBS. And here in the top, I will introduce something called Elastic Load Balancer. So anything coming from internet will be first coming to my Elastic Load Balancer, and then from here it will get distributed to my EC2 instance. So what all things I have done till now is that I have this thing ready first. So I have my two instances ready, and if you come here, click on one of the instance. So let me come here to my new PHP app. I have started both of them. Just let me refresh. So these are the two instances which are running. Let me just bring it up. So this is the PHP project. and here is the IP address for this. Copy this, come here, say index.php. Yeah, it is up and running. Similarly, I have one more instance where it is running, which is new PHP app. Again, I'll take the IP address of this and put it here. It was index.php. Now this is having a problem. This one is, wait, let me take this in that case. PHP project. Let me try this one again and show why it is not working. And if it is not working, I will be deleting that. No, this instance is having a problem. So let me just go ahead and delete this. This is the one which I'm talking about. I will terminate this. And let me refresh this again. So let me come to the second one, which is this one. And I'll take the IP address of this, which is here. Copy this, copy this, and just paste it here. Index.php. Okay, so now if you see carefully, I have two instances. One is PHP project and Reviver PHP app. Both are running here. So this is one and this is two. So I'll make a small change so that I'm able to identify them. So first is this PHP project. So I'll connect to this and make a small change so that here only I'm able to identify. So this sessions page, I'll make a small change here, okay? But before going into that, I will start my work. So as I told you, I'll be creating an application load balancer. So the one which I have created last time, I have deleted it and I'll be creating a fresh one today. So load balancer, as the word suggests, will take care of balancing the load. So let me say I have two instances. My every effort will be that these loads get equally distributed. So this is me here and this is my application load balancer. So I will want that 50% of load should go here and 50% should go here. It should not happen that this particular instance is only doing all the hard work. And this is my database. Both the instances are connected to the database and I have the read replica thing here. And all the static content is staying here on the S3 bucket. So let's start with this load balancer. So when you want to launch a load balancer in EC2 dashboard, you come somewhere down here on load balancer and you start your work. When you come to load balancer, you can simply come here and say, I want to create a load balancer. I have a load balancer from my previous class. I just want to delete it and start a fresh one so that in case you don't know how to create it, you will be able to know it. So I say create a load balancer. The moment I say create a load balancer, I get a lot of options. The basic one or the most easiest one being classic load balancer, which is previous generation one, and it is going to be scrapped some or the other day, very recently by Amazon. So if you see here, there are four load balancers basically, and we will be dealing with application load balancer. If you need a very good speed, very high speed, you can go for network load balancer. And if you have some gateway like internet gateway or API connectivity and all, then you can go for gateway load balancer. But as of now, I'm not using these two. I will be using this. It has cost involved. Please keep this thing in your mind. So whenever you're done with your work, please go ahead and delete this. Now you can come here and name it anything of your choice. Let me say is PHP load balancer. it is going to be internet facing, where I will get IPv4 traffic from port number 80. So it is saying, where are you going to listen all the traffic which will be coming to you? So I say that I will be listening it at port number 80. Now you have to make sure that the instances which you have are present at different availability zone, because, so let me just come back here to my instances. So these are the two instances which are running. So if you see carefully, now this is a problem. Both are working on US East 1D. So in case the availability zone US East 1D fails, both of them fail. So when you are launching, make sure that you launch one of them in US East 1A and the other one is US East 1B, C, D, anything. Okay, so that you get the load balancer working more effectively. So let me try putting both in same region and see what happens. So I'll go with this one, application load balancer, and here again I'll give a name, PHP load balancer, and same IPv4, HTTP, and all those things are same. Here, make sure that you at least choose this one, because your both the instances are here. Alternatively, you can choose these also, but the bare minimum thing which you should do is, because your instance is here, you should choose this one. But here I'm going to choose everything, so that in case my instances are launched at some other location, some other availability zone, then I get the benefit of that. It says global accelerator. I don't need all those things, additional features. Just come to next, next. Here it is asking you for the security group. So you can choose the security group. This is the DevOps security group which we have been using. So you can choose this and you can say go ahead. Now here it says that you have to create a target group. So target group is basically, it is telling the load balancer where to target, what to achieve, like that. So I am going to create a new target group and you can give a name of your choice. Let me say PHP target group, something like this. Whom are you going to target? So I'm going to target the instances, basically the two instances which I showed you some time back. Where it is, so HTTP 80 is the protocol, leave this as default. And here you can say you are looking at what web page. So you're looking at index.php. This is the web page, right? Index.php. So whatever the website is, /index.php. So I'm looking at this page called index.php. Now, health check is very similar to check whether your neighbor is available or not. So you go to your neighbor's home, you knock at the door. If the neighbor opens the door, it means he is present, he is available at the home. He doesn't open, it means he's not there at the home. So this is what we mean. So healthy threshold, unhealthy threshold means the scenario is something like this. In every 5 minutes, I will go to my neighbor's house. I will knock the door for 2 minutes, and if he opens the door within that 2 minutes, I will say he is present. Once I will go, twice I'll go, thrice I'll go, 4 times, 5 times. So 5 times, if I go there, I knock the door and he will open the door 5 consecutive times, then I will say he is present. But I will go to his place and I will knock the door for the first time, he will not open the door. I will knock the door for the second time, again he will not open the door. Then I will say he is not there at the home. Timeout means, so in an interval of, I'll say every 10 seconds. So first let's talk about this. At an interval of every 10 seconds, I will go at his door, knock for 5 minutes, 5 seconds. And if he opens the door 5 times consecutively, it means he is present. My instance is healthy. So here, when I'm doing a health monitoring, basically, what I'm doing is I'm saying, so monitoring, I will teach you CloudWatch. But when it comes to monitoring, CloudWatch is a tool. So CloudWatch says that at an interval of 10 seconds, I will go to the instance and check whether it is available or not for 5 seconds. If I get a response within 5 seconds, then I will say it is healthy. If I don't get a response, then again I will go after 10 seconds and I will see whether it is healthy or not. Again, I'm not getting a response, then I will say it is not healthy and I will raise a error. Just hit enter. Here only you can register the target groups, but leave it. We will do it in the next section. Then review and just go ahead and launch. So it will take some time, and if you see here, the PHP load balancer has been created. So we can simply click here and we can go, or we can close this and we can come here to this place called load balancer, and this is the load balancer we have. So if you see, this is right now in provisioning state, means still it is coming up. It is not ready, it is still coming up. And if you come to your target group, you will see the target group which you just now created, which is this one. So if you just scroll a little bit this side, it is coming from PHP load balancer, which I just now created. The previous one is this, which I will delete this. It is from my previous recording, so let me just delete it. So this is the target group. If I go inside the target group, here I have to tell who all are the targets, whom do you want to monitor. So you have to come here and say register target. So here by default it is telling you that these are the two running instance. Do you want to register these two, or do you want to monitor these two? I will say yes, I want to register these two. So you can simply come here and you can, so this will get enabled register target group, but you have to wait for your this thing your load balancer to come up. So it will take some time for that to come up and be available, but let's wait for some time. So back to EC2, back to load balancer, back here. So it is now active. Let me go back to my target group. Here, let's go inside and let's say I want to register target. So this or this is same. Let's click here, register target. Let's take this. Okay, should be enabled. So if it is not enabled, come back here. Got it. For HTTPS, we use port 80. No, it's not HTTPS. For HTTP, for HTTP, you use port number 80, but for HTTPS, you use port number 443. Okay, so let me come here. The description is this: listener, who is listening? So as of now, nothing is monitoring, integrated services, tags. No, come back to target group. I just want to check target group detail. Okay, fine, this looks okay. Target group, register target. Do I need to do one by one? Okay, so this is what I have registered. Then there is another one, which is this one. This one also I have registered. And then come here and say register pending targets. So now if you see here, the two instances whom you want to register, or whom you want that the load balancer should balance the load, has been taken care. Okay, and currently this is in initial state. Once this becomes available, you will see that with the load balancer's address, you are able to see them, or you are able to view them. So this is the DNS name what I got. I will take this, I will come here, paste it, and I will say index.php. As of now, this will not work. Luckily, it is working. It means it is registered here. So let me come back here to my target group. Here, So as of now, both are healthy or both are registered. That's why it is reflecting. So now if you see, I don't have to give the IP address like this and then index.php, then the IP address like this and PHP. Rather, I can give my load balancer's IP address, which is this one, or the DNS name, and index.php. So one time it will go to one instance and the other time it will go to other instance. But how will I come to know which instance it is going to? So let me do a little bit change so that I'm able to identify where it is heading towards. So come here, go to this revival thing, whatever is one, take one of them, copy this. Let me connect to this via putty. So putty, I will go inside ubuntu at the rate, the IP address, appearance. This is 16 is what I'm going to change. Okay. Then you come here to SSH, auth, browse. And if I remember, I was using DevOps KP. It is PHP project KP. PHP project KP. Just open this. So I'm opening the first one. And if you remember, my keys or my all the folders are present here. var www html ls minus l. So there is a file called sessions.php. Yeah, this is the file. So I'm going to edit this. So I will say sudo then nano and this file. Okay, just let me go ahead and edit this. So I'm going to give a name here. Let me say this is main instance, or let me give the IP address of this. That will also work. This is the IP address of this, right? Okay, so now I know that this traffic is coming from this IP address. Okay, Control X, Y, enter. So I have changed this one, which is this. 1 second. Similarly, I'll change this also so that when load balancer is working, I come to know which one is getting changed. So let me just new session. I will say ubuntu at the rate the new machine's IP address. This thing auth browse and project KP open. I will say cd backslash var and then html ls minus l. I will again say nano, but before that I'll say sudo nano sessions.php sews.php. I'll come inside. It is, I change this thing again. 1 second. So this is 3 point. I copied the same thing again. Wait, I came into the same instance again. Let me just go back, Control X and enter. Exit from here and close this. Okay, I want to close this. Basically, I'm again entering into this, which is so I have to enter into this one, 54.1. So let me just open putty again. I will say ubuntu at the rate the new IP address, which is 54 something something. Windows, so appearance change 16. Okay, SSH auth this thing, and this is the key. Go ahead, Open it. Yes, I want to open it, and I want to go to cd var www html ls-l. Here I have this session.php. So I'll say sudo nano and then sessions.php. Now if I come here, this is what I want to edit. So basically I'm editing and I'm also adding the IP address so that I come to know from where the request is. Okay. Now let me come back here, refresh this page. So here in this sessions page, I should also see the IP of my machine, which is not reflecting. Let me close this, close this. I think I have to reboot these two machines. Instance state, reboot, reboot. Let me close this all. This should also not work because anyhow the instances are rebooting. Now, meanwhile, the instances are rebooting. I will start with the database. So this is a 504 gateway timeout. So let's stop this at this point of time. And this time I'm going to work with the database. So I told you that I will be working with RDS. Now RDS has two features of read replica and multi-AZ deployment. Now these two things will come to you only if you are using the paid version of RDS. So RDS comes with free version also, but if you're using the free RDS version, I'll show you, you will not get those two features. So again, cost is involved. Be careful when you're using this. So I go into DB instance and here I will say I want to create a database. So it is saying that we are listening to you and all those things. Just close all these things. And before coming here, make sure that you enter to the new dashboard so that old dashboard is not what is we are needed. Come to the new dashboard, create database, close all these things. You can go for standard create or easy create, but I will go for standard create because I want to choose the features which I want. Here, when you come, it will ask you for 6 different engines. And obviously, Amazon Aurora is the one which is owned by Amazon. So Amazon will always try to promote this, but I'm not interested in this. I'm going for MySQL, this one. Here, if you see, I get MySQL community version means I don't have to spend any money to run this. You can take any version. So if you want latest version, you can go for the latest version, or you can go for some version like this 5.7 point something. Up to you. Once you're done with this, it will give you various options like this, whether you want it to run for prod, want it for run dev or free tier. So if you take the free tier or the dev one, you will not get the features which I'm showing it to you. So you should take this prod version. Okay. Now once you take the prod version, you can come down here and it will ask you for a name. So say what type of a database it is. Say PHP. It's a PHP database. Okay. Then in credential settings, it will ask you what is your username. So if you remember, I gave my username as root. Password I gave as password. Again same. Okay. Then in DB instance size, if you see here, it starts with 16 GB RAM and 4 CPU. I'm not interested in that big type of memory. So I will go here and I look for something which is small. So let me come here. I will say I'm looking for something small and I'll click on this. Okay, so that I get the option of T2 micro. Though I am using T2 micro here, which is 1 CPU and 1 GB RAM, still it is not covered in the free tier. Okay, then don't go for provisioned IOPS because as I told you, provisioned IOPS is generally for high speed. If you go for general purpose, you get okay speed and okay performance. Go for 20 GB, whatever they are giving. Remove all these things not needed. Auto scaling, Now this is what I'm talking about. There is something called multi-AZ deployment. So it says I will create an instance in standby mode, and whenever there is a failure, I will take care of that failure. So this is the one which I'm talking about. So you should use the prod version to get this feature, else you will not get this feature. Then it says in which VPC you want to keep. So I am keeping everything in the default VPC. Do you want it to make it publicly accessible, like somebody will come and just take the data? I'll say no, 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 I don't want people to publicly come and access the data. Then let's keep on going down. Here it's saying I'm going to use default default security group. I'll say go ahead and use it. Then you should come down. All the things are okay. Password authentication. Now it's saying that I will be charging you some $30 per month. I say okay. So $1 is per day, around 70-75 rupees will be charged per day. This is okay. Now this will also take some time to get created. So currently if you come here, it is in creating state. So let's wait for some time and come back again. Now these two instances, what I rebooted is ready, and I can come back here to my load balancer, which is this, copy this thing and start, sorry, not this one, DNS name, copy this thing and try to see if I am able to see my website, which is index.php. Yes, I'm able to see my website. Okay, but there can be a small problem here. So if you remember the architecture which I explained to you, so there is a possibility, and let me talk about that possibility. What may go wrong here? So the possibility is that you have two instances, right? And there is a load balancer. So when you log in for the first time, it may bring you to this instance. But when you log in for the second time, you will come to this instance. But whatever work you're doing, you have saved it here. So again, when you come here, you have to do that same work again. So to make your session or to make your traffic go only this direction, you have one way of doing it. What's that way? So that way is basically called sticky session. So please remember this. This is a very important interview question. How can I make sure that my users are not getting bothered by the load balancer? One time the load balancer is bringing here, and the other time the load balancer is bringing here. How can I take care of that? So in this kind of architecture, you can take care of that by enabling sticky session. So let's come to load balancer. So this is load balancer here. If you come towards the end, listener, wait, if you go to your target group, inside this, if you come to the group details, sticky session, where is that? Targets, monitoring, not in monitoring. I think it is there in load balancer only. Description, basic configuration, hosted zone security attributes. Not here. Listener, action, edit attributes. No, 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 no. Integrated service. Somewhere here, I guess. Config WAF. One second. Okay, it says target group. Let's go inside the target group. And then you will come to this group details. Here you will find something called attributes. See here, attributes, edit. Here if you see, there is something called stickiness. So if you read this, it says this type of stickiness associates the target group. If enabled, the load balancer binds a client session to a specific session instance. So the problem which I was talking about, that when you log in for the first time, you go to this instance, you do some kind of a work, and when you just come back again, the load balancer will push you here. So the work which you have done here, you have to do it again here, and this can be annoying that I have done half of the work and you are again pushing me to a different instance. So that if you want to avoid that, you can enable this sticky session, and it will stay with you. So you can stay for how many time or for what duration it should stick, or your EC2 instance will remain with you. So this, for if you enable the sticky session, you will get this channel only. It will not bring you here. So this is one way of taking care that you don't just one time you go here, one time you go here, one time you go here, you one time you go here. So that problem will be taken care of. Once I have enabled my RDS instance, I'll wait for this to come up. Let me see if it is up and running. Still, so still it is modifying. It's a time taking process, but I have the endpoint. So this is what actually I need. Okay. So because I have the endpoint, I can go and edit and start my work. So I'll come here, back to my EC2 dashboard, back to my running instance, and I will try to edit this one. Okay. This one. So I'll connect to this instance, take the IP address, say putty, say ubuntu at the rate whatever IP you have, SSH, auth, auth, before that appearance, change, let me make it 16. Okay. And I gave the auth key, right? No, auth key is this one, which is this. Open, click on this, open, and let it open. Now here, if again you can come to this page, var www, and then var www and your HTML. Here if you see, you have something called rds.php. If I come here now, here this RDS thing will not work. Click on this, it says fail to connect. So I will go and edit this, sudo nano and the RDS PHP thing what you have. Now here you can give your connection. So RDS post name. What is your RDS post name? So whatever RDS you have created, that host name is needed here. Where is my RDS? This is the RDS. Just take this, put it here. What is your DB username? So DB username is root. What is the DB password? So the DB password is password. Okay. Control X, Y, enter. Just save it. Come back here and try to refresh this. Let's come back here. Let's try to connect to this again. One second. So this is the instance. Index.php RDS. So if you see here, I get the messages connected to RDS MySQL database. Now when the same thing I am trying with my this thing, load balancer. So one time it should get connected and the other time it should not get connected. So why it is happening? Because if you remember, I have two instances. See here, I have two instances. Here I have made the changes, here I have not made the changes. So if my load balancer is pushing me here, I should not be able to connect. But if my load balancer is pushing me here, I should be able to connect. So let's check that. Come here, index.php. So I will try this local RDS. Now it says connected to RDS MySQL database because my load balancer has pushed me here and I have made the changes here. But here I have not made the changes. Now if I keep on refreshing, it will one next time. Oh, sorry, it will not push me because I have enabled the sticky session. So every time it will come here, and because of the sticky session, it will push me here, and then from here I'll be getting connected to my database. But the moment I disable my sticky session, which is this one, so if you remember target group, this is your target group, and this is your attribute. So I will disable this sticky session. Okay, I don't want this sticky session. Save. See here, it is saying it's a round robin algorithm. Means one time it will go there, one time it will go there, like that. Let me come back here and try this again now. See here, now one time it is saying I am failed to connect, another time it is saying I am able to connect. One time it is saying failed to connect, another time it is saying able to connect. Now this is happening because my load balancer is one time pushing the request here, one time it is pushing the request here. When it is pushing the request here, I am getting connected, but when it is pushing the request here, I'm not getting connected because I've not made changes here. So what am I going to do is I'm going to make the changes to the second instance also, so that this time I get connected for both the instances. So come back here, EC2 dashboard, this thing, where did I make a change? So 164 I have changed. So this one PHP project I have changed. Now I'm going to change it on this one, the other one. So this is the IP I have. Let's connect. So putty, I will say I am ubuntu at the rate, the IP address. Appearance I will change a bit. This time I'll make it bold and 14. Okay, and SSH key is auth. This is the key which I'm going to use. Open. CD var www html ls-l. Here again I will have this sessions dot sorry this rds.php which I'm going to change. So what I can do is I can say sudo nano and this rds.php. Here again it is asking me, tell me your host name. So this is my host name, which is this, the RDS host name, which is this, user is root, and the password is password. It is case sensitive, so make sure that whatever password you're giving, you're using that only. Password, Control X, Y, enter. Saved it. Now come back here. Now both the times it should connect and it should not give me a error. Connected. So if I hit 50 times here, 50 times it should say connected, because this time in these both instances I have done the changes. Now I told you that I'll create something called read replica, and read replica will help me to read the data better. So more and more people are trying to come to my database, and from there they are trying to get into my data. They are trying to read my data. So I can create a read replica. So read replica will be only and only for reading purpose. There is no write going to happen, means you are not going to write any data there. So I go to my database and from there I type read replica. So this read replica window will open and here I can create the read replica database. Okay. So what is the name you want to give? So you can give PHP. So it's a replica of PHP database. And how can what is the name you are going to give? So I'll say RR PHP database, something like this. You can give a name. Where do you want to launch it? So I have the customers in some customers are from North Virginia, so I'll put it in North Virginia only. Then what is the size? So T2 micro. What storage you want? So same as what I have given in my original instance. Here, do you want a multi-AZ deployment? So no, this is not for any disaster recovery. So I don't want any multi-AZ deployment. I'll keep everything as default, whatever, and I will say go ahead and create a read replica. So what will happen is now you will see that a read replica creation will get started. So if I go inside this one, I will see that it is creating. The status is creating. Meanwhile, it is creating. Okay, I will try to wait and basically I'm waiting for this endpoint. So when you start, you don't have the endpoint. It is getting created. Once it gets created, you will find the endpoint, and that endpoint I can use it here. So if you see, you will have rdsrr.php. So if I go inside this sudo nano this thing, I am looking for this thing rdsrr hostname. So anyhow, the username is root only because it is just a read replica of the current instance what you have. Password is password. Is it ready? Not yet. So it's still creating. Let's wait for some time to get that thing ready and be available to us. Okay, still creating. Meanwhile, I can go to the other this thing also. Here also I can make changes to this. So I will say sudo nano, and this is the one. I'll go down here. I will say this is root, and I will say this is password. Okay. Still, do I have this? No, I don't have. Okay, fine, no worries. What I can check is now, let me come back. Now there, if you see here, there is something called RDS read replica. If I click on this, it should not work right now. It says fail to connect to the RDS replica MySQL because you don't have this thing right now. So I am waiting for this creation to happen, and once this creation is done, I will get an endpoint address or a link with which I can connect, and with that link I will just put that link there in my stuff and it will start working. I don't know why it is taking this much time, but generally it does not take this much time, and once this is done I can do that. Now while we are waiting for this, we will add one more feature to our website. The next feature which I'm trying to add here is that you will see that you are not only dealing with SQL data, you may deal with non-SQL or unstructured data, semi-structured data, unstructured data, data which cannot fit into rows and columns. So in case you're dealing with any such kind of data, then in Amazon, you have something called DynamoDB to help you. So let me come to DynamoDB, DY, Dynamo. So there is something called DynamoDB, which is there to help you work with NoSQL kind of database. Now, using DynamoDB is damn easy. It is very, very easy to use DynamoDB because it is a serverless application. When I say serverless, I simply mean that you don't have to manage any servers. You don't have to do any hard work. The entire work is done by Amazon. Amazon will take care of making sure that the data is available, making sure that you don't land into problems and all. The only thing or the only stuff what you can do is you can create a table. First thing, you can query that table and you can monitor that table. So these are the only three things which you can do when it comes to DynamoDB. Apart from that, everything is taken care by Amazon. So here if I come and say create table, I can simply come and say that I'm going to create a table called sessions, sessions. And here I can say what is my primary key. So I will say ID is my primary key. You can create any table. You can say Facebook, then you can say name, comment, whatever you want. Just use whatever name you want to give, whatever table you want to give. You need not worry about the attributes like these many rows, these many columns, nothing. Just give a name of the table and what you want as a primary key. Just that much. If you don't want to use default settings, just remove that. I don't want to add any default settings. Just scroll down. Now if you see here, it says you get 5 read capacity and 5 write capacity. It simply means that any point of time 5 users can parallelly read the data and 5 users can parallelly write the data. It is a big count every second. Okay, if you're running a very small database, there's no need to go with this. And if you see here, this is $2.91 per month. Okay, so it says if you go with provision, it is free tier eligible, so you can go with this. But if you want, you can go ahead and change this. Okay, so I will go for provision only. Let's go with provision only. Let's stick to this and let's come down and just create it. We're not going to do anything extra. We are doing everything what is. So here it says if you want to create a role. So as of now, I'm not creating a role, but I'm creating a DynamoDB table. So let's wait here. And now if you come here, you will see that the table has been created. It says the table is being created. Once it is created, you can come to this items tab and you can see that the table is ready. So you can query this table. How? So either you can scan the table. Scan means you don't know the actual content. But if you create an item, let me say I will create an item. So item can be, so item means the row. So the item's ID can be 2301 and the name can be, it is a number and quantity quantity and it is, let me say 20. I will add one more field. I will say it's a string. Name of that thing is, let me say I'm buying salt. Save. See here, I got one row here with ID as 2301. The name is salt and the quantity is 20. I may add another item. Just come here, say create item. This time my ID is 01 and I'm trying to save a data which is totally different. Let me say I'm trying to save a string data whose the name, it is Facebook ID. And his Facebook ID is, let me say sd21@gmail.com. Save. Now if you see here, this particular field doesn't have Facebook ID, and this particular field doesn't have name and quantity. So something which is common or something which is keeping them together is this ID. Apart from that, you can do anything here. This side, there can be any number of rows, any number of columns. I can simply say create item. I'll give an item ID as 22300. Save. And I don't give any details. I don't give any details. See here, 2300 doesn't have any details. Okay. So this is an unstructured kind of data set where you can go and put anything you want, anything. Okay, any format. There is no restriction, there is no problem in doing this. There are two things which you can take care. There is something called scan and query. When you scan, it means you don't know actually what you're looking for and you scan the entire database. When you're running this on a prod environment, be very careful because scanning means you're running a query without a where clause. It can fetch thousands and hundreds and millions of records, which will take a lot of time, lot of money, and lot of trouble for you. So always go for this option where it says query. And here in the query, you can add a filter. You can simply say, I'm looking for ID, which is basically a string, and it is equal to 01. Start the search. Sorry. My bad, I should have given here. So I'm looking for ID, which is 01. Start the search. So if you see, this is what I got. It means when you do a query, you do a query based on the partition key, or you do a query based on a where clause, where you exactly know what you're looking for. But if you don't know what you're exactly looking for, you can go for a scan. But scan is difficult because you are scanning the entire database. Okay, so whenever there are 2-3 things in DynamoDB which has to be taken care. The first thing is it is a serverless application. It means everything is managed by Amazon. You don't have to manage anything. You don't have to think about servers and all. Everything Amazon will take care. The second thing is you can do 3 things. You can create a table, you can put your data set or your data, and you can simply monitor what is happening. Apart from that, you don't do anything. When it comes to data, you can create your item, you can put anything you want there. It's a NoSQL database where there's no restriction on the data type or anything like that. But when you are querying your data, you get 2 options, scan and query. Scan means you are not sure what you're actually looking for, and you say something like this. So scan can take more time, more resources, more money. But if you are aware of the component which you're looking at, you can run a query and things will become easy for you. If you want to delete the data, just come here and go ahead and delete the data. There's no problem at all. So come here and simply say that you want to clear all the data. Once again, you can just go here and delete the data also. Actions. And you simply come here and say delete. I want to delete all the data which is available here. And simply it gets deleted. Then coming back to my RTS read replica, by this time I assume that I should have a endpoint. In case I have an endpoint, very good. In case I don't have, I'll move a little bit ahead towards one more concept related to this. Yes, I have the read replica thing with me. So let me just copy the URL, come here and provide the URL. So this is the URL, or this is the place where I have to copy paste the URL. And Control X, Y, enter. Just let me check once. Okay, Control X looks okay. This is the other one. When you're copy pasting, make sure that you copy paste it correctly. You don't end up in messing around with something which you should not be. So I have added my read replica URL. Now if I should come here, I should be able to get the message that I'm able to connect to the read replica. So for one of the instance, it is saying connected to read replica. For the other instance also, it is saying connected to read replica. So this is how you connect yourself to the read replica. One more very important thing, that these things, read replica, database, are not covered under free tier. So whenever you're not using it, just go ahead and delete them. There's no provision of stopping them. You can just go ahead and delete them. DynamoDB is free because it is completely managed by Amazon. So DynamoDB, you get 5 GB of free storage, not a problem. The next content or next topic which I want to cover here is IAM. So in IAM, I want to create a role for my EC2 so that my EC2 can talk with my DynamoDB. So I'll come to IAM, and here I'm going to create a role because my EC2 wants to talk with the DynamoDB. So quickly I'll come here to roles and I'll create a new role. I'll create a new role. Who is going to use it? So AWS is going to use it. So I'll use AWS and I move ahead. Do I need to create a policy? The answer is no. I'm going to use the generic policy which Amazon already provides. Later down the line, I will go and edit this DynamoDB. So DynamoDB full access is what I take as of now. Later I will change it, but as of now I take DynamoDB full access. Let's go down, tag. I'll skip the tag section. I'm not adding anything. Role name, I can say PHP role, something like this. I'll give a PHP role name and I will simply go ahead and create that role. Once this role is created, I will associate this role with my EC2. How can I do that? Come back to your EC2 dashboard. Here you have your instance. Come to actions. Here if you see, there will be something called security. Modify IAM role. Click on this. Make sure that, what was this? Let's come back again. There was some problem. Click on this action, security, modify IAM. Come here. This is strange. I don't know because of internet. Come to the second one. Come to actions, security, modify IAM. Okay, there's some problem. I have one more solution to this. I'll go back to the previous experience. So this is the old console what we used to see back in 2020 to 2019. So here you come here, PHP, actions, instance setting. Here you will get this option of attach or replace IAM role. Click on this, and you go and attach your PHP role. So this I have attached to the first instance. It says attached, close it. I will go for this one, I guess. So here already attached, right? So I'll go for this one, the second one, action, instance setting, view change, attach IAM role. Come here, attach this role. Now, the moment you attach this role, basically what you have done is you have given access to, come here. So you have something called DynamoDB session. So now what happens is you have given access to DynamoDB. So So it says welcome this thing. Now if you go back to your DynamoDB table, from here let me dyna. So whenever a user is logging, okay, whenever he's logging, he's trying to do anything, that information will be captured in my table, which is this, which is this. I come to items, see here, PHP session ID, username Vikas logged in with this. I will log in again with some different name. So I am capturing the session details, who is logging in. I'll come back again, I'll refresh, come back to DB session again. Wait, let me go back. So I've tried to log in 2-3 times, okay? So I should see 2-3 entries here. Okay, so it's not taking that second. F5. Now this time I log in with a different name. Why is it stuck? I think that sticky session is still working. That's why it is stuck. So it is stuck here and it says refresh. Okay, I don't have one more solution to this. Let me take the IP address. This is the IP address. Let me take this. Come here. Control V. And it is index.php. This time I go back to my Dynamo this thing. Here I give a name as Ravi. Submit. Okay. If I come back here, I should see one more entry. See here, this time Ravi logged in. So basically what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to capture the details of the users who are logging in, so that in future I may come to know, okay, this user logged in this time. Or if some user has created an account but he's not logging in, I can send him an email saying that you did not log in from last 20 days. So those kind of things. So as of now, what all we have covered? We have covered, let me come back here. So we have covered RDS. So how to make it local EC2 instance. On local EC2 only, install everything and work. How to make read RDS work. How to make RDS read replica work. Then if the image is on EBS volume, how it will work. If the image is on S3, how it will work. Local session and TV session. Now in the coming class, I will teach you about CloudFront. What is signed URL in CloudFront and what is memcache. So just to give you a brief of that, memcache is nothing but it's a caching service. So when you're using a database, you want the retrieval of the data to be very fast. So in that case, you start using memcache. So in Amazon, you have something called memcache, elastic cache. So you have cached memory. So I'll teach you what is this cache memory and how to use this. Okay. Then another feature which I'm going to teach you is something called CloudFront. So CloudFront simply means that when you're trying to access a website, let me say the website is somewhere in US. If you're trying to access that website, it should happen that the content should be easily fetched. It should not happen that the content is taking a lot of time to coming to load. So those things I will teach you in the coming classes. Once I'm done with this, I will teach you something called Elastic Beanstalk or EBS. Elastic Beanstalk is a very smart way of working on AWS. So the same app which I'm running with all these hard work, okay, I'm going and keying the values. This is the IP, this is the load balancer. All these things will become very, very smart, very, very effective. You just click on this create app and Just tell where your code is. Just tell where your code is. Upload the code and it will start working. So I'll show you the smart and effective way of working with AWS. So on this note, I will stop here today. And in the coming class, we will talk about Memcache, CloudFront, and then we will start talking about EBS. And when it comes to EBS, you will see your work is becoming very, very, very easy. It is on a click of button, you will be able to do everything. You don't have to go to the code, you don't have to do anything. Life will be very easy for you. Okay, so on this note, I'm stopping here today. See you tomorrow, same time. Bye bye.